It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Robin Mines. Welcome. My name is Abusive, and thanks a lot for joining us. I did start the show last week talking about how last week was probably one of the toughest weeks for Nigerians with regards to everything that's going on. I'm not sure if things have abated across board, but I mean, I think after 8 to 9 days, I got power back yesterday. So my Saturdays sort of looked like there was hope, but the diesel madness, for want of a better word, is still going on. Fuel is sometimes available and sometimes not, but for the most part, things are not necessarily back to normal. Power is still an issue. But on top of all of that, politics is all everybody's talking about, because we're hearing that some northerners really want, the PDP not to zone things out. The APC is going through its own internal crisis. Politics is all we're going to be talking about, it looks like, until February next year when the elections hold and the handover eventually happens. But the real issues still matter, and Nigerians are going through a lot of just craziness. And I have here with me Rihanot Ogunnoiki. Thanks for being here today.
Hello, it's really nice to be here.
Yes, I think it was about 3 days ago we saw tweets from Tony Elumelu, who's one of the icons of business in Nigeria, and definitely one of the wealthiest Nigerians that we know. And he had joined the complaint train, saying how he was having a conversation with his colleagues at work, and everybody has the same sort of things to complain about. Things are not sustainable anymore. We're seeing banks put out statements saying, we're going to be closing our branches now at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and staff must leave at that time because the gen can be on for longer. Some schools are reporting that they have power for just 1 hour because they have to turn things off. Service apartments are telling people to go and buy their own generators because they can't, it's a lot happening. And the core of any economy is small business. And the small businesses cannot survive. The jackpot train seems to be getting louder. How are Nigerians supposed to continue like this? How do you think people are faring? Because I know you are a kindness ambassador, and we're supposed to just sort of smile through times like this. Is that still possible?
I'm not going to lie, it's not possible to smile. It's like being in pain and expecting the person in pain to smile. How do you even push through that pain to smile? So it's a poor people's conversation. Both the rich and the poor are being affected. You mentioned small businesses. If you're in traffic now, the pure water seller that is probably pregnant or not pregnant, she can't give cold water because there is no light to have cold water.
Or buy ice block.
Or buy ice block. And she can't even have a gen, because how much is she even making for her to be able to afford a gen? Frozen food, for example. The woman that is just managing, I'm selling Titus fish for people. Now, I'm talking about people on the streets, not even going to Sunday market. Things are getting spoiled. Like this morning, I poured out my beans. Yesterday, it was meat. So it's affecting everybody. Then let's take it to the bigger aspect. The hospitals, some people need oxygen to breathe. If they cannot keep going, if they can't keep buying diesel at the rate that it is, people are going to die. Businesses are crashing. You're even trying to start a business. It's like Nigeria is telling you, you take one step forward and Nigeria is saying, oh no, you can't do it. The rich people are Tony Elumelu is a big deal. So on Twitter, they say it will touch everybody. It's touching everybody. We bought diesel for 7,000 naira on Thursday. It finished this morning. So in my household, I'm asking, how many 7,000 nairas are we going to spend in a month? So imagine bigger companies that they need lots of liters of diesel. See banks, look at the airlines saying that, oh, you can't fly, there is no fuel.
They almost shut down services.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ebuka, you can't drive to some places here in Nigeria now because I don't want to say you're likely, but what if you get kidnapped? So people are relying on traveling by air because you can't just get kidnapped there. You know what I mean? But there is no fuel to travel by air. By road, you're afraid of being kidnapped. Even you're not even... It feels like there's no money in circulation, Ebuka. Because this is someone that has not sold business, that wants to even feed his or her family. Things are expensive, Ebuka. If you go to the market now with 5,000 naira, if you buy noodles for 3/8, Ebuka, what's left? You can't buy other things. Usually, I give my son market lists to go. And my son goes to the market every Sunday because I have to work. Or like today, I'm here. And today, I just gave him the money and I just said, buy grapes and plantain. And he came back, I'm like, Mommy, you didn't give me the list. And I realized, I said, no, it's just grapes and plantain. Because every Sunday I would write chicken, turkey, meat. I'm like, grapes, I can't. My husband will eat the grapes tomorrow. We'll fry the dodo. But I can't even buy all of these things because there is no light. Look at young people. We have so many people baking cakes, just trying to make ends meet. There is no light. It's really unfair. It's really sad. 1 minute there's fuel, the next there's no fuel. And then when there is, it's kind of expensive. And then it goes back to being affordable. People are struggling.
Yeah.
People are suffering.
It's very, very scary. And, on top of that, we've heard ASU has extended their strike again for 2 more months. So students are stuck at home, so education is not even working. In Lagos, in particular, we're hearing that the toll gate is opening again. So that's another cost added to people.
Oh, yes.
You now wonder, for a country that's not necessarily famous for, I don't know, giving palliatives to its people in hard times. This is like crunch time for a lot of us. Where is the silver lining? Is there anything you see that people should hold on to at a time like this? Because it looks like from all corners, everything is punching at us.
How do you even give hope to people when you yourself, you're hopeless? The English people say, oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Ebuka, I don't even see the lights. We're talking silver lining, that's even too big. There's no silver lining here. Things are getting harder, Ibuka. People can't even feed. There's no money. Salaries are small. Now, with this whole no diesel thing, I feel like some companies are going to delay salary. We're actually suffering and smiling. Before, when someone just shares like a Nigerian story with you, like, Baba, you go better, you can't even say that to people. It's hard to say that because the person you're telling needs light. So,
even you telling it, you don't even believe it.
Yeah,
the
person you're telling needs light. And if it's not like the person you're telling, probably his auntie got kidnapped last week. So what do you want to say? That the kidnapping should stop. You don't worry. Just quickly go to Ibadan. There's nothing is working. Students that should be in school for 4 years are on strike. There is no assurance that you would graduate in the next 4 years. How are you even owing salaries? What does that even mean? We're saying that education sets you apart from the world, and that's the beauty of education. But guess what? How would it set you apart when you're home? And then there's this obsession for people to say to other people on strike, oh, while you're home, do this. Some people just want to go to school, get their degree, then think of what to do next. Students they're tired. They're tired of being at home. After a while, it feels like, I didn't want to go to school again. So you have to keep doing this pep talk over and over again for your children to remind them that, oh, education is important. And to not think that there are no actions in place for resumption. We're saying 2 months. Who tells you it's not going to be in September?
Yeah. I mean, we did get a statement from Mr. President during the week, I think early in the week, apologizing for the fuel strike. It was a bit of a surprise for a lot of people because we've not necessarily heard sort of an apology for the way things are going in the country. But beyond an apology, especially for just the fuel situation or the power situation, it seems like there's a lot that needs to be done. I don't know what the government's plans are, with regards to power. Even those that have constant power, we know what the meters cost now, what it means to get your own power and all of that. But I want to talk about this, like we call it jackpot for those who don't understand, this sort of push the country. I don't even know if it's a brain drain anymore because people are not even trying to necessarily, they just want to leave. We saw the news that some Nigerians wanted to apply to the Ukrainian army to fight for Ukraine. You want to go to a war zone just because you want to leave, for whatever reason, I've always said that I don't know anybody who's more proudly Nigerian than I am, and I was the guy who would always tell you, stay here, So how do you tell someone that now? Because if everybody leaves, who's going to fix it? Exactly. That's a fact. But at the same time, people need to also have a plan in life and move forward. Is there any convincing the average Nigerian now to say, okay, you know what, let's stay here. We can still do something.
If we're being honest, if you're telling someone, stay here, and the person should ask you, if I stay, what would I benefit? What would you give me, Ibuka? What would you say? That's it. Yeah. So if I even list the 5 things I would give you, there's no assurance that on your way to work, trailer is not going to, that truck, the container, sorry, a container is not going to fall on you. Despite the things that I'm giving you, there is no assurance that you cannot be on your way to Ikoton, for example, and meet yourself in Ikperu because, I don't know if it's one chance, being kidnapped. Then there's let's enter the Ubers and the boats. And then before you even go inside, you're looking at, is it tinted? Or is it not tinted? Oh, should I enter? Oh, mom, this is where I am. Or you're telling like 5 of your friends, look at the plate number and everything. So there is the insecurity. People are always missing on social media. You can't just tell your child to just go down the road to buy something. So I do not see the hope. I do not see the lights. People would graduate from schools and you wonder, where are the jobs? And then we see people resulting into different kind of things that I cannot even mention here. Young people. Because you could be at a job, for example, for 10 years, and maybe if you're lucky, by the 9th year, you're earning 150,000. People want more. People have children. People have families. So they're going to countries where they know that, oh, there is electricity, basic amenities, healthcare, there are good roads. And then the government, per se, cares about them. You don't just apologize that we do not have fuel. No. Okay, after the apology, how am I going to watch TV? Oh, how am I going to ensure that my business keeps running smoothly? Because I can't keep buying diesel. Something has to give. What is the government giving us? It's not about apology. They have to give us so many things. If I'm saying, Ebuka, don't jackpa, I have to say, oh, there's not going to be a strike. There's assurance that you will not be kidnapped. Oh, I'm telling you for sure that you will always go safely and come back safely. You're going to get a job when you graduate. Come on, Ebuka. There is no hope. Like, we have all run out of motivational speech to give one another. Because it's not, if you're saying, if I'm trying to encourage you, it's not in my hands anymore. It is in the hands of the government. So if I'm saying, Baba, just stay small now. What is the government doing about it? If the government doesn't work the way that it should or provide these things, the average Nigerian is going to go. Imagine we're saying there is fire somewhere and people are going there, Ebuka. That's to tell you how crazy it is. It's like saying, I'd rather be there than be here. And that's to tell you that the average person has actually lost hope and there is nothing you can say. Even if the government restores all of these things, they'll say, let's even see for a year if it's going to be consistent. If it's not, people are still going to pack their bags and they are going to leave. Yeah.
I know you use your platform a lot, and especially like on social media to, just make statements about the state of the nation and all of that. Do you think those sort of mediums are still useful? Do you think government still pays attention to? Because I've always wondered, what can the average Nigerian do in a time like this? People are talking about, come out and protest. But a lot of people are also afraid because the last time we had a major protest, it ended in a very bizarre way, So protests are, people are skeptical about, does it even work? We protested this thing, people still point out that they see plainclothes officers on the road still doing the same thing we, protested against at the time. Does social media have power? What does every Nigerian do at a time like this? Do we just sit and wait and hope?
We say that our voices matters. Our voices can create change. You say in advocacy, keep using your voices and your hashtags. And using hashtag as a case study, remember during the movement, it was just within Nigeria. And before you knew it, everybody picked it up. Like I'm talking about CNN and all of these very big news agencies. So it was our hashtags that traveled. People just saying, oh, we're suffering. We're in dire need of this thing. Help us to let it reach the global audience so that we can get help. So sometimes social media works. But I also know for sure that in the government, we have young people. Because most of the people in the government are quite old. So I know for sure that the younger people are telling these people that this is what's going on behind the scenes. This is what our age mates per se, or the average Nigerians are saying. And I think it would be weird for them to like watch each video or like go through hashtags and all of that because they're like, oh, whatever, because it's like they keep doing what they do. One of the biggest things that actually works is the protest itself. But Nigerians are afraid to protest because nobody wants to die. Even if you want to go, your mom's going to say, hello? You know when they speak that, Majadi, last my mom will say something like that in Yoruba. We will say it in English because they'll say, we know you guys are passionate about the country and you're going to go. That's the loudest hashtag, the protest. But we can't even take to the streets. We have been online talking about this no lights, food is expensive, no diesel, insecurities, people are missing. The government, I know for sure that they see it. But the one that, in quotes, carries weight the more is the protest. But we can't protest. So it's like we have a voice, but we are being silenced even without acting. We're in pain, like, this thing we should even do so they will hear us. We can't do it. So everybody's just looking and just hoping. Hoping, and with the hope, there's no light. But the apology the president gave, we're going to accept it because there is nothing we can't do because we can't summon them. Despite that, we put them in the office. So it's like,
that's a reality.
Like I said earlier on my social media, it's like being in an abusive relationship. So he has apologized, so you wait. Still lies, because there's nothing you can do about it. Can you do anything about it?
So I want to talk about 2023 now, because I've seen a lot of movements on social media, especially Twitter. People say, get your PVCs. People are taking pictures with their PVCs, saying this is one chance that we have now. Elections are coming up, and it's not necessarily just the president. We have, governors and members of the National Assembly that we need to put in there, to sort of start changing things. People even say this is our last chance. I don't know what that means, a lot of young Nigerians are also very apathetic now. People are not necessarily interested in it because they said, oh, we've voted in the past, either our votes didn't count or the person we had faith in did not do what he promised. So there's a lot of just like, I'm going to just spend my day chilling that day. But governance is important and leadership is important, which is why a lot of what is happening now. How hopeful are you about 2023? How do you speak to Nigerians to say, okay, we need to do this because this is the one thing that we can do? Is that something you think people are still willing to listen to?
It takes us back to the foundation. When I say foundation, let me give an example. Growing up, we used lanterns and candles with the hope that when we become much older, our kids won't have to suffer for electricity. Now, I'm 30, I have 2 kids, and now they are the ones who go to charge the lamps. This is taking us as far back as 30 years ago, using my own age. So, of course, in 30 years, I know we've had leaders. Now we're going to have new leaders, or do I say more leaders? So this part of it that feels like Buhari couldn't do it, Obasanjo couldn't do it. Is it XYZ that is going to do it? These are people that we thought they were actually going to come through for us. At least, before saying we do not have some things in Nigeria, it shouldn't be light, it shouldn't be all good roads, it shouldn't be healthcare. Look at the amount they're paying doctors. Sometimes they will say there's no mattress or bed space. People are literally dying. So how do you even tell? Oh, sure, you tell a person get a PVC, and they're like, there's no hope, there's no hope. But it's like you kind of have to keep telling them, because what if the next guy is better than the last guy? But I'm telling you for sure that people have lost hope because they are seeing the people that are going to contest, and they're like, I know for sure this one is never going to do it. And because I've not had lighting, using my age, let's say like in 30 years, uninterrupted power supply. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to call names. Is XYZ really going to give us light? Just looking at them, especially for people that have been in governance before. You can only, it's like saying you can only advise, you can't enforce. You can only do your path. Oh, guys, get your PVC. And that's the thing. People do it a lot on social media. We know you guys are angry. We know you're frustrated. We know you do not want to vote. But you kind of still have to do it because if it's good, it benefits everybody. And if it's not good, of course, it doesn't benefit us. But we wouldn't stop talking about it. We wouldn't stop, in code, like talking, advising, or just preaching, or just encouraging one another. At the least you can do is get the PVC and vote, and just, it's so bad that we have to pray that the leaders even function, because there's no assurance that they would function. Because it's like, I don't want to say they're not credible, but it's like they will not even come through. So we'll keep advocating for people to get their PVCs and hope, and then still put prayers. We're in a nation where we have to pray for basic amenities. Do you know how embarrassing it is? People that Jackpa say that when they travel, they start doing all those, God, let me get to my midlight. I want to iron my children's uniform. But now, we haven't even elected them. But we are praying that when we get the PVC, we also have to pray that they put in the work to ensure that maybe the Jackpa is going to reduce. And if it doesn't reduce, just for the country to function, because we're going to have parents here. All of us can travel with our family members. So we keep advocating, preaching, and just putting in the work and putting the word out there. Guys, please get your PVC. And on the day that it is time to vote, please vote. And we hope that people do that. And we hope that the best person gets the job. And we hope that the country functions. We can only hope. We can't even say, I know for sure that Ebuka is going to give us light. You can't even say that about any candidate. You know what's even painful? There is no, you know that thing that they do, that they will come and just like share stuff? No candidate is even trying to give us electricity now that we're suffering. Like, just test us, give us light. Then we know for sure, oh, if he's the president, he's even going to do better and bigger. Look at, go see hope. Hopeless.
Well, I guess we still trying to hold on to kindness at this time, and I hope that that's your message continues to spread, and kindness seeps into the leadership, and understands that Nigerians,
to be faithful, loyal, and honest.
Yeah.
The government should be faithful to us and give us the things that we need to function as Nigerians, basic things.
Thank you very much, Rihanot Ogunnoiki, for joining us today. I don't blame you for everything you said, because it is very tough out there. There's no sugarcoating it, and I think the more we speak the truth as harshly as we can, the better hopefully we'll become. Yeah, thanks for being here today. Yeah. Okay, so before I go, I'd like to... I always say at the end of my video that the only race is the human race, and it's really important that we treat each other with kindness, love, compassion, because we need the world to be a better place. And on social media, you know, with Big Brother, for example, people are constantly bullying one another. People could just say the slightest thing, just because I do not like somebody. It's like, oh, your mama, and people are constantly cursing each other out. And I hope that we treat each other better.
And there's usually this narrative where people say that be kind to one another, for you do not know what you're going through. It's wrong. I don't have to go through anything. You treat people with love, kindness, dignity, and compassion, because kindness is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us. And on that note, we're going to take a break and come back. Please don't go away.